Today we're working on a Carrier Weathermaker gas furnace, forced air, that has an intermittent problem, and those are the hardest kind to determine what's wrong with it. So we believe the problem lies here at the gas valve. We've already done troubleshooting on the pressure switch, and we've already witnessed that our igniter glows just fine, nice bright orange inside the combustion area. So we believe the problem lies here. Now, these are online for $150 to $170, or you could have a technician come in and replace it. But what we're going to do is see if we can figure out why this unit comes to life when we come down here and test it. It'll fail after working for a while, and we'll come down here and test it, and everything seems okay. You're supposed to get 24 volts AC. Remember that it's AC voltage across pins 1 and 2 here at the junction box when it calls for gas. And it's only on for a short period of time, so you need to have your meter there watching it as it cycles through. Now, we've always had 24 volts, so that says that the gas valve's bad. But then the gas does come on. It's when we're touching it, when we're moving the pins, when we're testing it with the meter, then it comes to life. So we believe there's a problem here inside the junction box, and as another gentleman showed on a video, there's a small circuit panel inside of this. So we're going to take this off. There's a screw here and a screw back here, and as you'll see, it lifts straight up and off, and we'll look inside of it and see if there's anything wrong with it. Otherwise, I'm afraid we'll have to replace the gas valve. But let's see if we can save you some money. Be sure when working on this furnace to turn the main power source off to the furnace, and also shut off the thermostat. If we remove this lower door, there's a switch as well right here that prevents the furnace from coming on. But we want to shut off all 3 switches. The thermostat, open this door up, and shut off the main power switch to the furnace. As you can see, it's down, it's off right now. This unit comes off of 2 small pins on either side that slide into these holes. So when you remove it, be sure to lift straight up on it. Don't try to slide it out sideways or upwards or back and forth. Don't rock on it. It needs to come off directly straight upward so that you don't damage these cylindrical terminals here inside the circuit board or the pins on the 2 coils. So lift it straight up and off once you've loosened the screws. And taking these 2 screws off on this unit here, they're a combination of a straight blade and or Torx. So most people will have a straight bladed screwdriver on hand, but you need something short. So an offset screwdriver is handy to get it started with. And you can put a small tip from like a magnetic screwdriver in a socket and a ratchet to take it off the rest of the way. But you have to get in here somewhat constricted on this particular model, so you need to have something short to get those 2 screws out to remove this junction box. Okay, we've loosened these 2 screws and removed our wires, recording where they went on this little circuit board, and lifted it out from in between these 2 coils on our gas valve. We've done that because we've noticed each time we've tested for 24 volts, when it's asking for gas, it appears to be there, but yet it has a tendency to fail occasionally. And we've always jostled this a little bit when testing it for the 24 volts, and then eventually it will light, it will bring gas into the system and light. but it will fail without any touching. So we're going to look, having seen that there's a circuit board inside of here, and we're going to look for any problems in here. So we'll go and do that now. Okay, we've taken off the small junction box in between the coils on the gas valve of this furnace. And if we turn it over, we'll see inside of it there's a small circuit board. And we'll investigate each one of these pins with a magnifying glass to determine whether or not the solder joint looks good on it. Sometimes, as a circuit board ages, a bad solder joint can grow worse and you won't have perfect continuity on it. We'll also check for continuity with a volt ohm meter. So we'll employ a magnifying glass and an ohm meter to test this. And what we found in doing that is on these two pins, the pins are somewhat by themselves, meaning they're cracked. Where the pin comes through the joint, it is fractured around the pin. And even though there is continuity between these two given areas at times, it normally takes a slight amount of effort being pushed against either one of these central pins to get continuity to where the circuit board shows that it leads. And we'll test that by turning on our meter for continuity and sound. We'll just lay it on here, and we'll come over here and touch this pin. Now I'm touching it right now, but it's not making any sound. If I put pressure against it, there's continuity there. We'll try the other one. This one isn't as bad as the other one. I can touch it right there right now and there's no continuity. I have to put a little bit of pressure on that for there to be continuity. So what we'll do is we'll resolder these two pins. Okay, here under better magnification, you can see these two pins. The pin sticks through the solder joint and is somewhat fractured around the pin at each point as it goes through this little puddle of solder. And that's what we're going to try to heat up and place some new solder on it. We'll clean it off, put a little flux on there. We'll try to repair this circuit board, which is not sold separately. And in fact, then we'll be repairing the entire gas valve assembly and won't have to replace that if all works well. So we'll show you how to solder that next. We're going to put a little bit of soldering flux, a little bit on each pin, not much, just ever so little bit. If you're not familiar with soldering at all, you should go watch some videos about soldering. And I can't stress that enough because you need a good joint here. And soldering is only as good as the joint you make. It isn't just hit it and it's good. That's not the case. You got to have the right temperature and you got to have some practice prior to doing this. The flux will make the solder go to the area that we want it to a little bit better. And so we'll try to just put it ever so little bit on here. You can't even see what I put on there. I'm going to reestablish this on the tip of my toothpick here. And zero in a little bit better. As long as you've wiped the area with the flux, it should be good enough. It shouldn't have to be It shouldn't have to be on there very much. Now we have some very fine rosin core solder here, but you could do it with thicker, but this is what we're going to use. You'll know when the soldering iron's ready because it'll take the solder like that. Now this is going to be hard to see. I've just got solder on the tip here, and I'm just going to try to touch it down in there to the nose of this terminal. Just a little bit more on for the second one here. Really got to inspect it. I think we got it well. You can see the shine now associated with those two terminals up here in this upper corner. You can see that we got solder on there. It's good and hot. It should be a good connection. We'll again look for continuity here and see if it seems to have improved any. And this will make an audible sound when there's continuity. Okay, I'm trying to not put any pressure against it all. When I leave it on there, it produces a nice even sound, but I'm trying not to push on it, so therefore, seeing that, I've repaired the damage. At the same time, if I push against it, I want to see if there's any fracturing. But there isn't. We'll now reassemble this and we'll test it over a period of time to see if it fails or not. And if it doesn't fail, since it's failed 4 times in 3 days just recently, if it doesn't fail in the next couple weeks, I'll be pretty sure that we've cured the problem, and instead of spending $170 on a gas valve, plus ourselves installing it or having it installed, probably for a bill of upwards to $500, that we fixed the problem for no cost. And that's what I'm trying to help you with. So here we go, we'll put it back together. We've turned the thermostat back on and we've replaced the lower door. We're going to turn the main source of power back on now. The furnace will go through a cycling. And we'll listen for all the sounds as it does this, and we'll watch the igniter window here. Okay, our gas came on. As you can see, the furnace is running as it should. And more importantly, since I posted this video, the furnace has continued to run without an intermittent problem or any problem for the weeks and months to come. So I hope this video has shown you how to possibly repair your gas valve unit and save you some money. The art of it is going to be in your own hands. And I take no responsibility for the job you've done. This is what I've done for myself. I hope it can work for you. But it's how good of a repair person you are that will make or break you if you experience the same problem. So thanks for watching, and have a warm winter.